Some betrayals come from strangers. Some come from people you thought you knew. But the ones that hurt the most? Those come from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. My name is Rachel, and 3 years ago, my mother sent a text message that destroyed our family forever. But she didn't send it to me. She sent it to my 10-year-old daughter, Lily, and the words in that message still make my hands shake when I think about them. It was December 18th, exactly 1 week before Christmas. I was in the kitchen making hot chocolate for Lily when I heard her tablet ping with a notification. She was sitting at the dining table, working on a Christmas card she was making for her grandmother, my mother. Lily had been so excited about the holidays. She had been counting down the days until we could all be together as a family. She had made handmade ornaments. She had practiced Christmas carols to sing for everyone. She had even saved her allowance to buy small gifts. I watched her pick up the tablet with a smile on her face, probably expecting a sweet message from Grandma. But then her expression changed. Her smile disappeared. Her little face crumpled, and tears started streaming down her cheeks. "Mommy?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Why doesn't Grandma want me at Christmas?" My heart stopped. I walked over and gently took the tablet from her trembling hands. What I read made my blood run cold. "Lily, I think it's best if you stay away from Christmas this year. Your cousins are coming, and I want everyone to have a nice time without any problems. You understand, don't you, sweetheart? It's just better this way. Don't tell your mom I messaged you. Love, Grandma." I read it 3 times. Then 4. I kept hoping I was misunderstanding something, but the words were clear. My mother had told my daughter, her own grandchild, that she wasn't welcome at Christmas, and she had told her to keep it a secret from me. In that moment, something inside me broke. Not the kind of breaking that makes you fall apart, the kind that makes you realize you've been blind to something ugly for a very long time. As I held my crying daughter in my arms, I made a decision. But to understand why I did what I did, you need to understand the history. You need to know what my mother was really like and why this message was the final straw in a lifetime of favoritism and cruelty. I grew up knowing I was second best. My older sister, Victoria, was always the golden child. She was prettier, according to my mother. She was smarter. She was more talented. She was everything my mother wanted in a daughter. And well, I was just Rachel. When Victoria got straight A's, my mother threw her a party. When I got straight A's, my mother said, "That's nice. But did you see what Victoria did at her dance recital?" When Victoria made the cheerleading squad, it was front page news in our house. When I made the honor society, my mother forgot to come to the ceremony. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself that my mother loved me in her own way. I made excuses for her for decades. Victoria married young, a wealthy man named Richard who came from old money. They had 3 children, perfect, blonde, well-behaved children who my mother adored. Christmas at my mother's house revolved around them. The expensive gifts, the professional photos, the endless praise. I married later in life. My husband, Marcus, was a good man, kind, hardworking, devoted. But he wasn't wealthy. He was a teacher. To my mother, that made him somehow less worthy. And when we had Lily, things got even worse. Lily was different from her cousins. She was shy where they were outgoing. She was thoughtful where they were loud. She had learning differences that made school challenging for her. She needed extra time and patience. My mother had no patience. At family gatherings, I noticed how she treated Lily differently. Victoria's kids got big hugs and kisses. Lily got a pat on the head. Victoria's kids got expensive gifts. Lily got whatever was on clearance. Victoria's kids got to sit on Grandma's lap. Lily was told she was too old for that. Lily noticed too. Children always notice. "Mommy, why does Grandma like Emma and Sophie and Jack more than me?" She asked me once, and I had no answer. I couldn't explain something I didn't want to admit was true. I tried talking to my mother about it. I tried being diplomatic. I asked her to please treat all the grandchildren equally. She denied everything. She said I was being oversensitive. She said I was jealous of Victoria. She said I was imagining things. Gaslighting. That's what it was. I just didn't have a word for it back then. Still, I kept showing up. Every holiday, every birthday, every family event. Because that's what family does, right? You show up, You forgive, you pretend everything is fine. But that text message to Lily? That was something I could not pretend away. That was my mother going directly to my child, behind my back, and telling her she wasn't wanted. That was unforgivable. After I calmed Lily down and put her to bed with promises that she was loved and wanted, I called my mother. My hands were shaking as I dialed. Marcus sat beside me, his face a mixture of anger and disbelief. He had seen the message. He had held Lily while she cried. He was just as furious as I was. My mother answered on the third ring, her voice cheery and light. Rachel, I was just thinking about you. Are you excited for Christmas? Victoria's kids are… Mom. I cut her off. I saw the message you sent to Lily. Silence. For a long moment, there was just silence on the other end of the phone. I don't know what you're talking about, she finally said, but her voice had lost its cheeriness. It was defensive now. Careful. You told my 10-year-old daughter to stay away from Christmas. You told her not to tell me. I have the message, Mom. I have screenshots. Another pause. Then she sighed, like I was being difficult, like I was the problem. Oh, Rachel, you're blowing this out of proportion. I was just trying to avoid drama. You know how Lily can be at family events. She gets overwhelmed and then everyone has to stop what they're doing to accommodate her. Victoria's children have activities planned, and I just thought, you thought you would exclude a child from Christmas? I interrupted. You thought you would message her directly, a little girl, and make her feel unwanted? And tell her to keep it a secret? Don't be so dramatic, my mother snapped. Lily needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. And honestly, Rachel, you've always been so sensitive about every little… Stop. My voice was quiet now, cold. Stop right there. I took a deep breath. For 35 years, I've watched you favor Victoria over me. I accepted it. I made peace with it. But I will never let you do this to my daughter. Lily is a child, an innocent child who loves you and looks up to you. And you made her cry. You made her feel like she doesn't matter. Rachel, you're overreacting. I'm not coming for Christmas, I said. And neither is Lily. In fact, until you can treat my daughter with the same love and respect you give Victoria's children, you won't be seeing either of us at all. My mother laughed. Actually laughed. You can't be serious. You would keep my granddaughter from me over one little message? It's not one little message, Mom. It's a lifetime of treating her like she's less than. And I'm done. We're done. You'll regret this, she said, her voice turning hard. You'll come crawling back. You always do. I hung up the phone. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty for standing up to her. I felt free. Within hours, my phone started blowing up. First, it was my sister Victoria. Mom told me what happened. Don't you think you're being a little extreme? It's Christmas, Rachel. Family is supposed to be together at Christmas. I asked Victoria if she had seen the message. She admitted she hadn't. When I forwarded it to her, she went quiet for a long time. Then she said, I'm sure Mom didn't mean it that way. That was Victoria, always making excuses, always defending our mother. Because why wouldn't she? She had never been on the receiving end of this treatment. Then came the aunts and uncles. My mother had called her entire phone tree, painting herself as the victim. According to her version, I was keeping her grandchild away from her for no reason. I was being cruel. I was ruining Christmas. Not one of them asked to hear my side first. Not one. You know how your mother is, said my Aunt Carol. She doesn't mean any harm. You should apologize and move on. Apologize. For protecting my child from cruelty. That's what they wanted me to do. I decided to take a different approach. Instead of arguing with each family member individually, I created a group chat. I added everyone, every aunt, every uncle, every cousin, and I shared the screenshot of my mother's message. No commentary, no explanation, just the message. In my mother's own words, Lily, I think it's best if you stay away from Christmas this year. Don't tell your mom I messaged you. The group chat exploded. Some family members were horrified. My cousin Danny wrote, That's messed up. You don't say that to a kid. My Aunt Patricia said, I had no idea. I'm so sorry, Rachel. But others doubled down. My mother's sisters defended her fiercely. They said I was airing dirty laundry. They said I was trying to humiliate my own mother. They said Lily probably misunderstood. Misunderstood? The message was right there. In black and white, my mother called me that night, furious. How dare you share that with the entire family? You've embarrassed me. You've made me look like a monster. I didn't make you look like anything, Mom, I said calmly. Your words did that all on their own. She hung up on me. It would be the last time we spoke for over 2 years. That first Christmas without my mother was strange. For so long, Christmas had meant my mother's house, her traditions, her rules, her subtle jabs at Lily and me. Now, for the first time, we were creating our own Christmas. Marcus and I decorated our house the way we wanted, with mismatched ornaments and strings of popcorn that Lily made herself. We baked cookies and burned half of them and laughed about it. We watched old movies and drank hot cocoa until we couldn't drink anymore. And Lily? Lily was happy. For the first time in years, she wasn't anxious about Christmas. She wasn't worried about saying the wrong thing or not being good enough or being compared to her cousins. She was just a kid, a happy kid enjoying the holidays. That told me everything I needed to know. I had made the right choice. Over the next 2 years, my mother made several attempts to reconcile. But every attempt came with conditions. She would agree to see us if I apologized for sharing the message publicly. She would consider visiting if I admitted I had overreacted. She wanted me to say I was wrong. I wasn't wrong. So I said nothing. Victoria tried to play peacemaker a few times. She invited us to events where she knew my mother would be, hoping we would accidentally reconcile. I declined every invitation. I wasn't going to ambush my daughter with a reunion she hadn't agreed to. Life went on. Lily thrived. She made new friends at school. Her grades improved. Her confidence grew. Without the shadow of my mother's disapproval hanging over her, she blossomed into a confident, happy girl. Sometimes she asked about Grandma. I always told her the truth, age-appropriate but honest. Grandma made some choices that hurt us. Until she's ready to be kind to everyone in our family, we're taking a break from seeing her. Lily understood more than I gave her credit for. She had felt my mother's coldness herself. She knew this wasn't about a silly disagreement. It was about being treated with dignity. 2.5 years after that Christmas message, I got a phone call that changed everything again. It was Victoria, and she was crying. Rachel, I need to tell you something. Mom is? She's not doing well. The doctors found something during her checkup. It's serious. My stomach dropped. Whatever my feelings about my mother, she was still my mother. The thought of losing her forever brought up emotions I wasn't prepared for. But then Victoria said something else. She's been asking for you. She said she needs to talk to you. She said she made mistakes and she wants to make things right before it's too late. I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to rush to her side immediately. Another part reminded me of all the pain she had caused, not just to me, but to Lily. I'll think about it, I told Victoria. That night, I talked to Marcus. I talked to Lily, who was now 12 and mature enough to have an opinion. Do you want to see Grandma? I asked her gently. Lily was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I think I need to. Not for her, for me. I don't want to wonder what would have happened if I never saw her again. My 12-year-old daughter was wiser than most adults I knew. A week later, we drove to my mother's house. Victoria greeted us at the door. She looked tired, worn down by weeks of caregiving. She's in the living room, Victoria whispered. She's been waiting all day. I walked into the room where I had spent so many holidays feeling invisible. My mother was sitting in her favorite chair, looking smaller than I remembered. Older. Fragile. When she saw Lily, her eyes filled with tears. Lily, she breathed. Oh, look how beautiful you've grown. Lily didn't run to her. She stayed close to me, cautious. She had learned to protect her heart. My mother looked at me next. Rachel, thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't, I admitted. She nodded, accepting that. What my mother said next surprised me. She didn't make excuses. She didn't gaslight me. For the first time in my life, she took responsibility. I was wrong, she said, her voice trembling. I was wrong about so many things. The way I treated you growing up, the way I favored Victoria, the way I treated Lily. She paused, struggling to continue. That message I sent her, it haunts me. I look back at that woman who wrote those words, and I don't recognize her. How could I have said that to a child? I wanted to answer that question. I wanted to tell her exactly how it was because she had never learned to love unconditionally. When you cut me off, she continued, I was furious. I thought you were being dramatic, punishing me over nothing. But then the months passed, then the years, and I realized that I had lost you, both of you, and it was entirely my fault. Tears streamed down her face now. I've been in therapy, she admitted, for the past year, trying to understand why I was the way I was, why I always needed to control everything, why I picked favorites. It's not an excuse, there is no excuse, but I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to understand. She looked at Lily with such pain in her eyes. Lily, sweetheart, I am so deeply sorry. You did nothing wrong. You were just a little girl who wanted to be loved by her grandmother, and I failed you. I failed you completely. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. Lily was crying now, too. So was I. So was Victoria, standing in the doorway. I don't know if you can ever forgive me, my mother said. I'm not asking for that. I just needed you to know that I see it now. I see what I did, and I am so, so sorry. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Lily walked forward. Slowly, carefully. She stood in front of her grandmother and said something that broke me. I forgive you, Grandma, but I need you to promise you'll never hurt me like that again. My mother nodded, reaching for Lily's hand. I promise, sweetheart, I promise with everything I have. Reconciliation isn't a single moment. It's a process. Over the months that followed, my mother and I slowly rebuilt our relationship. It wasn't easy. Trust doesn't come back overnight. There were setbacks. There were moments when old patterns tried to creep back in, and I had to remind her and myself that we were doing things differently now. But she tried. For the first time in my life, my mother actually tried. She made an effort to treat Lily and her cousins equally. When Victoria's kids got gifts, Lily got gifts of equal value and thoughtfulness. When there were family photos, Lily was positioned right in the center. My mother even started attending Lily's school events, something she had never done before. She apologized to me too, privately, for all the years of favoritism, for making me feel invisible in my own family, for never seeing me as enough. You were always enough, Rachel, she told me one day. I was just too broken to see it. Her health improved, thankfully. The diagnosis that had seemed so dire turned out to be manageable with treatment. She's still here, still working on herself, still trying to be the mother and grandmother she never was before. Last Christmas was different. We all gathered at her house again, me, Marcus, Lily, Victoria, and her family. But this time, no one was invisible. No one was left out. No one was made to feel less than. When Lily sat on her grandmother's lap and they laughed together over a silly Christmas movie, I felt something I hadn't felt in that house in decades. Peace. Actual, genuine peace. So what's the lesson in all of this? First, that boundaries are not punishments. When I cut my mother off, I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was trying to protect my daughter. There's a difference. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say, no more, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Second, that standing up for your child is never wrong. Society tells us to keep the peace, to not rock the boat, to forgive and forget for the sake of family harmony. But what about the children caught in the middle? What about their peace? Our children are watching how we respond to mistreatment, and they learn from us how to value themselves. Third, that people can change if they choose to. My mother didn't change because I confronted her. She changed because the consequences of her actions finally caught up to her. She lost her daughter and her granddaughter, and that loss forced her to look in the mirror. Not everyone makes that choice. Some people stay stuck in their patterns forever. But some people, given enough time and enough motivation, find the strength to grow. And finally, that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I forgave my mother, but I will never forget what happened. Those memories serve as a reminder of what I will not tolerate, of how far we've come, of why boundaries matter. Forgiveness is about releasing anger so it doesn't poison you. It's not about pretending the hurt never happened. If you're in a situation where family is hurting you, or worse, hurting your children, know that you have the right to step back. You have the right to protect yourself and those you love. Family is not a license to cause harm. And sometimes, setting boundaries is exactly what the other person needs to finally wake up and change. Because in the end, the relationships worth having are the ones where everyone is treated with dignity, and you should never settle for less. Thank you for watching until the end. This story is a reminder that standing up for the people we love is never wrong, even when it's difficult. If this video touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories of family drama, justice, and redemption. Your support means everything to us. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever had to set boundaries with a family member? How did it turn out? I'd love to hear your story. Remember, you deserve to be treated with respect. Never let anyone, not even family, make you forget that. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of the people who truly love you.